Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Strong Atlanta presence, huh? Very nice. Happy with that. One more year, one more retreat. And I don't say it in a hopeless way, but in the way of understanding how important it is to get ourselves to refresh and recharge. Even the devices that we use have to be plugged in and not used for some time. Same thing with us, except we have to unplug to recharge. This is the best place to do that, because we have everything here that is provided. We don't have to think about anything. It's a no-brainer. Really. Just come, sit, listen, and magically breakfast, lunch and dinner appear on time, that of all the things. And whereas one would be caught at home trying to figure out, what should I eat today? What should I cook today? And what should I make? What did I have yesterday? I shouldn't make that. I should have something new. These feel like choices, but actually they are very oppressive. When we finally come to understand how oppressive these choices are, then we are in the situation of understanding how to make choices that are not oppressive. Choices become oppressive in nature because there is a pressure. The pressure to not miss out on anything, the pressure to do, the pressure to feel like I am the one in place, choosing, making decisions, and the pressure to have something happen. These are all puts us in the position of thinking we are the one making these choices. There is this delight in agency and choice making. The truth of choice making leads to agency. Agency means karta. Karta means what? Everybody knows. Doer. Doer, doership, agency. These are all catch phrases of samsara. Initially they delight because they make one seem as though one is in a wonderful place of control. Any problem? Not able to hear? Okay, yeah. We'll wait. Yeah? Better now? Om Namah Shivaya, testing. Yes? Yes? Perhaps, maybe? Okay? At some point we have to say good. So, this whole tryst with agency and control with which one has led one's life initially delights, puts one in a position of power, and makes one feels that one is the mover, shaker, and the producer of things, events, situation, people, etc. But soon that delight turns into disaster and distress, because the costs of this identification with oneself as the doer is very, very steep. The costs of this aligning oneself, identifying oneself with this doership is nothing less than embracing samsara, some sorrow or the other. That is what samsara is. What is the connection between agency, doership, and sorrow? Because we are in the unenviable position of having the choice and the free will of action, but we do not have, as the Bhagavad Gita says repeatedly, the say over the results of action. And this, if we do not understand, then we are not able to choose properly. We are not able to get to the higher vantage point of understanding the truth of aham, I, which is all-pervasive, Satchidananda, as we know. We have been studying this for a long time, which is free of hurt, guilt, pain, sorrow, and even the slightest, tiniest connection with samsara. All samsaritvam, samsarahood, samsaraness are as though superimposed upon the Atma, I, which is free of all superimpositions. This is where we have to get in our understanding, and for this reason, the connection between I and doership, karta, aham karta iti connection, the more we take it seriously, it's a recipe for guilt. But then why does one identify with karta? Why does one do anything for that matter? What is the reason for doing something? Yes. From karta to bhokta, it's a one-stop, non-stop actually. Karta to bhokta is a non-stop flight of fancy. No stops in between. Because bhogaya karma kurute. One becomes a karta, one identifies with doership. Why? In order to become an experiencer. Bhokta means enjoyer, but we know better that there is not much enjoyment in samsara. So we use experiencer, which is a little more of an objective term. So bhogaya karma. And so if you say, I'm not going to be bhokta, what will I be then? I'm not going to be karta, let me be the experiencer. If I get into experiencership, that's again another big travesty. If kartritvam leads to guilt, bhoktritvam leads to hurt. And this is very well talked about in the Taittiriya Upanishad. The regret of the karta. Kimaham sadhuna karavam Kimaham papamakaravamiti. Why didn't I do the right thing? Why did I do the wrong thing? Yes, possible to translate along with swaras. So, this is the guilt of the person who is identified with kartritva buddhi. Kartritvam is equal to guilt. The identification of myself as an agent of action leads to guilt because there is regret. Things don't turn out the way we want. When? All the time. Not even most of the time. All the time they don't turn out the way I want. And so therefore what is there? There is guilt. And identification with bhoktritvam leads to what? Pain, hurt. If kartritvam, do worship, is defined by what? Is defined by the understanding, or the wrong understanding actually, that I am the producer of the results of action. That's why there is that agency, identification with myself as the agent. Then there is guilt and regret, and with identification of myself as bhokta, the experiencer, that means what? I am unable to stand other people's omissions and commissions against me. This is hurt. This is the essence of bhoktritva buddhi. A buddhi that is identified with oneself as what? The bhokta, experiencer. And so, guilt and hurt are the pillars of samsara. They are the foundation pillars upon which the entire institution of samsara is constructed block by block, brick by brick. And so, but what is the pillar? The pillar, one pillar is hurt, another pillar is guilt. And so the whole life goes guilty and hurt, hurt and guilty. I can't stand my own omissions and commissions, that is guilt. I can't stand other people's omissions and commissions towards me. Why did they do this? Why did they not do this? Why did nobody wish me on my birthday? This is the hurt. Why you were supposed to be my friend and you did not wish me on my birthday? Says who? The birthless one. Yes. Says the birthless, deathless one says, what? My birthday, you should wish me on my birthday. Where is my gift? Not only did you not get me a gift, you did not even wish me. This is the regret of other people's actions or their omissions. One is hurt. So to get out of this conundrum is to understand one's choices and reduce the choices. The reduction of choices is a very smart way to overcome samsara, at least day by day. People keep asking, I want day-to-day tips. How to overcome samsara when? Day-to-day. Vedanta in day-to-day life. In fact, all Vedanta is day-to-day life. There is nothing other than day-to-day life. But still people want day-to-day Vedanta, minute-to-minute Vedanta, nanosecond to nanosecond Vedanta. What else is there? Picosecond to picosecond Vedanta. They've made the second even smaller. First we had just microsecond, nanosecond, picosecond. And the last year, the person who got, Nobel Prize in physics, they divided the second to even smaller unit called attasecond. And what is this at a second? Several thousands of them have gone by the time you have said at a second once. Okay? That is how small it is. And so, therefore, the connection, the day-to-day connection between a lived Vedanta, has to begin with examining our choices and willfully deciding not to exercise them. What choice do we have in not exercising our choices? Not much, especially caught up in the day-to-day life of various, exigencies in the everyday. One is caught up in that. So not much of a choice. That's why Arsha Vidya Gurukulam and places like this, where you are forcibly absolved from making choices for the whole next 8-9 days. You are completely absolved from that. You don't have to think in the morning what to do. It's already laid out in the yellow booklet which is in your hand. It tells you what to do minute by minute. You don't have to think. What are you doing at 5:30? Going to the temple. What are you doing at 7 o'clock? Coming for meditation. What are you doing at 8:30? Coming for class. In between at 7:30, going for breakfast. Like this, it's all laid out. Your whole life is laid out in front of you. And the choices don't become oppressive because you just follow along. It's a relief. You just follow along for the 9-10 days that you're here. You don't have to exercise the choices in the same way, giving a big space in the heart, in the head, in the buddhi, in the manaha, to get to this enforced, a kind of a sannyasa it is. A week-long sannyasa from what? Having to make choices. And so, everybody takes sannyasa for the 9 days, 9-day sannyasa, and then everybody's name is choiceless Ananda. Yes. So that one can discover oneself as Ananda without any choice. There is no choice in discovering that you are Ananda. That is the idea. And so, therefore, the opportunities to not only study and be with the text for some time, but also to have that immersive experience where one can just bathe in the text like one bathes in the Ganga. One can just be with the text for some time and as a result get from it the much more than what one would get staying at home. Staying at home is also possible to study. But here, you don't even have to do all the things that you do at home. You don't have to reproduce life. You don't even have to live your life. It gets lived for you. Yes, it gets totally lived for you. You don't have to live it at all. That being said, there are many people also following it from home, and warm welcome to all of them. And because it will be streamed, or it is being streamed live on the on something, forgot, but some platform it is being streamed live. YouTube, it's being streamed live, and then that is a good way to connect. If one is not able to be here, the next choice is to connect online. Don't think, oh, I am not absolved from making daily choices. Therefore, I won't get anything out of this retreat. Therefore, I will log out. Don't do that. You will still get. Because you can also make a sankalpa to just do the minimum for the next 9 days and to gain whatever one can. So this is the time to unplug from everything, recharge. And when you are studying this with other people, there is a joy because you know you are not crazy. That's important, yeah. Yeah. What is wrong with me? I have purchased a ticket. I have come here. Or I have driven here, however you have come. And then what? Oh my God, why did I do this? Something is wrong. I think I should go back. But then you see some other people also. And then you are happy. At least a few other people are there who have also done this. And you look around and you feel happy for the choice that you have made. And what is the choice? To be choiceless is the choice. And to be choiceless is the only choice, because when one is choiceless, choicelessly one knows that one is free, one is whole, one is without a second. And the work that we'll be studying is the Chandogya Upanishad, the 6th chapter, which is home to perhaps the most famous Mahavakya. Many Mahavakyas are there. Even though generally they say there are 4 Mahavakyas, there are not 4 Mahavakyas. There's more than 400 of them. But 4 are commonly cited because they have chosen one from each Veda. One Mahavakya from each Veda has been chosen, and then therefore they cite those 4 Mahavakyas. Prajnanam Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma, Tattvamasi, yes, and then Aham Brahmasmi. But even in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the first mantra itself you get a Mahavakya. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma itself is a Mahavakya. The word Jnanam clinches it. Jnanam means what? The I, the conscious being, which is equated to, connected to, identified with who? Bhagavan. Amazing it is. So there are many, many Mahavakyas. And the Kathopanishad itself has like about 50, 60 small baby Mahavakyas. So, and what is a Mahavakya? A sentence that unfolds. What does it unfold? Oneness between Jiva. And who is the Jiva? The sad, mad individual who thinks of herself, himself as what? Trapped, limited, finite, connected to all kinds of complexes, victimized, 1 minute agent, oh, yippee, I'm in control. And as soon as the person says, yippee, there is a catch there. Ow, yeah, karta, bhokta. This is how it goes. And so this individual, fumbling around on most days, deep in the doldrums of one's own mad mind, succumbing all the time to one's mad mind, is equated to the creator of the universe, Ishvara. Jagat Karanam Brahma. How is this even possible? But that is what it is. That is where the choice has to be exercised to know this. And that is the only thing to know, because knowing anything other than this tightens the cords of samsara, whereas knowing this frees one from all sorrow, all fear, all pain. This is the only thing to know. There is no choice in knowing this. You can choose not to know this, but you can't. Once you know, you cannot unsee this, you cannot unknow this. And no matter what you choose, you really are choosing to know this. No, how is that possible? I chose to go to a movie. I have nothing to do with Mahavakya. What is in common between movie and Mahavakya other than the fact that both start with M? What is in common? Nothing. You may say that. But look at the movie goer. Look at the person who is sitting in the movie. Find out why they like to go to movies. Find out what made them go to the movie today, and then you will see that whatever they wanted to either avoid, which is some pain, some difficulty, something that they did not want to confront, and whatever they wanted to choose, aka happiness. Distraction away from this pain and happiness. So they want pravritti, reaching out to be happy, nivritti, going away from the pain they already feel if they sit down quietly for 2 minutes. Try that by yourself in a room. You sit down for 5 minutes, all the fears, pains and discomfort come up. Double time, overtime. And so, therefore, this needs to be addressed. And the movie goer is also a mumukshu. And the Mahavakya goer, the one who goes in search of Mahavakya, is also what? A mumukshu, the seeker of freedom. The first one is choosing to seek where? In places where the freedom is not. Or there is a temporary freedom, and then coming out of that, one is back in the same old grind. Whereas the person who is choosing to know the Mahavakya is looking for an ultimate freedom from which there is no going back. That's the difference. And so the Mahavakya erases sorrow, understanding and assimilating this. And so the study of the 6th chapter will do that for us, will erase the sorrow completely. And the dialogue is between a modern young man. Modern means don't think from right now, okay? Yeah, modern means in the ancient times, modern. Yes. We have the character of this Shvetaketu, who is in the form of a young man who is a know-it-all. And then he is told he is not a know-it-all at all. Because why? He doesn't know all. So how can you be a know-it-all when you don't know all? He is told that you are not knowing that one thing, knowing which everything is as well known. And so the dialogue happens, and the 6th chapter is a very beautiful chapter, is the jewel of the Chandogya Upanishad, which in total has 8 chapters. So the first 5 chapters are upasana, to be able to have the antahkarana shuddhi, the inner cleansing of the mind, the heart, etc., the purificatory chapters 1 to 5 ensure that we will understand chapter 6, 7 and 8, the topic of which is Brahma Vidya. So the first 5 chapters are just appetizers, preparing the mind to understand the Mahavakya by various meditations, upasanas. Dahara Vidya is there in the Chandogya Upanishad, where one meditates upon a space in the heart and then invokes Bhagavan there. And so many other meditations. Dakshinakshi Vidya is there, the meditation upon the right eye, and the Purusha, the Bhagavan sitting quote unquote, behind the right eye. So Ishvara, a baby version of Ishvara behind the right eye means what? So whatever one sees, who is the seer? Yes. Whatever I ask the question is, the answer is Ishvara. Okay? Don't disappoint me now. Who is the seer? Ishvara. And then after seeing, one makes certain conclusions about what one has seen. Who is the one who is making conclusions? Abba. Answer came late, but it came. Then, so one is making conclusions, and then based on making those conclusions, you act. Like for example, you see a rope on the ground. First you back off, thinking what? Snake. Thank God nobody said Ishvara. Okay, so then upon closer inspection, you see that it's a rope. And here you are not the seer at all. You are not the seer. You are not the thinker. You are not the concluder. And if you are not the seer, hearer, thinker, concluder, are you the actor? No. So the Ishvarification of the body-mind-sense complex itself happens here, and it's a beautiful thing, very beautiful. So the first 5 chapters in the form of various upasanas already drive out the ghouls of doership and done-inship. They're already the one's heart and mind are exorcised of these specters, these ghostly entities. Ghostly, why? Because we can't see them. We don't know that they are there. But they are there because they exercise a really powerful effect on oneself. So they are there. They haunt one, like even the being under the foot of Lord Dakshinamurti. What is its name? Apasmara. Apasmara means the one who haunts through difficult memories, the unconscious mind. And what we see at the foot of the Lord is not only the bhakta's individual unconscious mind, but the unconscious, the total unconscious mind is also there. Avidya, tamas. And avidya becomes durvidya, wrong knowledge. Avidya cannot cause problems. Even the dog doesn't know. What? I am God. There must be a spelling mistake in my name. It doesn't think that. It doesn't know. But it's happier than everybody put together. As long as it's not abused, it is wagging its tail, it's going around, it's happy. If it's taken care of properly, it's not beaten, it's happy. No, Swaminiji, what? I have a dog. It's depressed. Yes. I think I need a dog sidekick. Okay, yeah. I need a dog psychic to be able to tell. I need a dog therapist. I will say, don't worry about all that. You just tell me how long he has been with you. Then you know why he is depressed. So, dogs are not depressed. Dogs have avidya, cat has avidya. Everything in the world has avidya, but avidya does not lead to depression. We need a little tadka there, a little seasoning is there, little garam masala is there. Some chaat masala you have to put. What is that? Wrong knowledge. Not avidya, but anyatha jnanam. Not ajnanam, but anyatha jnanam. Wrong knowledge. The wrong knowledge is the cause of sorrow. Wrong knowledge is the cause of samsara. What is this wrong knowledge? The wrong knowledge is because in the human being, the I is totally and uninhibitedly self-aware. Totally self-aware. Okay? Totally self-aware means there is no, I am aware of everything becomes evident to me. And I am what? Self-evident. Completely self-aware. And this total self-awareness is both a blessing and a challenge. It's a blessing because I am free to decide. I have limitless choices. I have limitless possibilities. And it's a travesty, it's a challenge, mainly because the self is self-evident. I know I am, and I have the freedom to come to various conclusions about what this I is. Are you here? Yes, of course. Yes, answer always comes a little, there is a lag, okay? But it comes, thank God. I'm here means what? I'm self-evident. I don't have to ask the neighbor, do I exist? Have I arrived? You know you are. But then, don't ask the next question. What is the next question? Who are you? Don't ask. Who are you means what? How much time do you have for me to tell you about all the disappointments from age 0 to now? All the jobs, all the marriages, all the children, everything that did not work out, all the pains, all the sorrows. How much time you got? And so therefore what? I know I am, fill in the blank, an idiot. I am no good. I am unlovable. This is the conclusions that one has reached. I am not enough. I am not rich. I am not acceptable. I am judgmental about myself and others. I am a person who has self-loath, self-critique, self-judgment, judgment about everybody. So the I am is samanya. It is unavoidable. Samanya means it is universal. It is unavoidable. I am you cannot avoid. And then the conclusion, I am, fill in the blank, and that whatever is filled in that blank becomes the cause of sorrow, pain, guilt, hurt, etc. So the I am is Shuddha Chaitanya, unconditioned as it were, consciousness without any trimmings, without name, without form. I am, aham asmi. And this is evident to me, sada bhami. But the last part, kadachinna aham apriyaha. At no time am I an object of distaste. At no time am I not lovable. This is not clear. Sat-chit somehow we can understand, but the ananda remains what? Elusive at best. Because instead of that ananda, we strike off that ananda because we don't see it as an object, and we deal only with objects in the everyday, and then we replace the ananda with, which is the swarupananda, with what? Vishayas, objects. So the ananda, what is the difference between the ananda centered on the object and the ananda centered on the self? They are not different at all. One is the source, the other is what? Sourced out, resource. One is the source, the other one is outsourced. That's all. Etadheva anandasya sarvani bhutani matram upajivanti. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Yajnavalkya talking to one king called Janaka. Janaka is the student, sage Yajnavalkya is the teacher, and instructing him on Atmavidya. What does Yajnavalkya say? This is the same Ananda which all the people, instead of understanding that they are the ocean of this Ananda, they take a little thimble full of water from the ocean and sip. And then it is matrameva upajivanti. Matram means a little thimbleful from the ocean they drink. From this nectar called Ananda, which you possess, one is still thirsty and then is able to only drink in small amounts because there is the subject-object difference, and the object, the Ananda associated with the object is the same as the Ananda of the subject, but not knowing that everything shines in borrowed Ananda from me, I try to milk that Ananda, which is what? My own Ananda. I milk that from objects and continue to be the sad person. And so, therefore, this teaching becomes very urgent, very, very important, very, very urgent. And so, the has has in its repertoire many, many topics. We'll see that. We'll see a little overview of the entire Chandogya before we hone in on the 6th chapter. Many, many wonderful topics. And as I have summarized, the first 5 chapters have to do with what? Cleansing, purifying the heart and the mind to be fit to study chapters 6, 7, and 8. But then if one says, I have not purified anything, in a way that may be true. We are not in ancient India, but we can take the spirit of what the first 5 chapters say and start living that kind of a life. And we know what that takes. And it's much easier here than out in the big bad world where one has to be in a place of strife most of the time. Here it's easier, here it is safe, and so we take the message of the first 5 chapters to understand that I have to be in a place of receptivity. We can understand that I have to be in a place of empowering myself with the teaching. So receptivity and devotion is Shraddha. I have to have a tranquil mind, which is Shamadama. I have to let go. I can't just keep obsessing about small things, sweating the small stuff, sweating the big stuff. Not needed. Especially in a place where everything is provided, there's no need to worry about anything. And there's no need to worry about not having things to worry about either. As sometimes people tell me, I'm really worried, Swaminiji. Why? What happened? Because I have nothing to worry about. So let's not go there either. And so let us practice the essence of the 5 chapters by invoking that tranquil mind, by having Shraddha, letting go, Uparati, and then focusing on the teachings, and like a horse with those blinkers on. They put the blinkers so it doesn't get startled by other traffic and horses. This is samadhanam. And so, not looking here or there, just being with ourselves and being with the teachings. And then finally, the viveka, vairagya, which is already there because that is what has brought us here to begin with. So with these words we will end here and let everybody settle down nicely, and tomorrow I'll see you all for puja and meditation. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Any questions before we go?
I am having some hearing problem.
Hearing. Please come sit closer. Yeah, reposition yourself. Hug the speaker if you need to. Okay, do whatever you need. Yeah. You can sit on the floor. If you are unable to sit on the floor, sit on the chair, bring it closer. Yes. No problem. Any other questions? Okay. All the best. Om Tat Sat.